Good afternoon, class. Today we're going to talk about brand extensions and explore why a lot of companies utilize brand extensions as a way to increase revenue and profit for the company by entering a brand new product category with an established brand. I thought we'd start off today's discussion with an example of a company that was successful in doing that, and that was the Clorox Company. Since 1914, Clorox has been a brand that's synonymous with bleach and bleach cleaning. And over time, the attributes associated with cleaning with bleach became very closely associated with the Clorox brand. Things like powerful chemical cleaning, the benefits of disinfection and whitening, those things are closely associated with the Clorox brand. At the same time, though, the bleach category began to become commoditized. Private label entrants came into the category. Clorox had a hard time differentiating its product lines. Downward price pressure occurred, and margins tightened for the Clorox Company. So Clorox began exploring utilizing a brand extension, and that is, the definition, leveraging an established brand to enter a new product category. Clorox looked at a couple categories initially, like dishwashing, but they had minimal success in those categories, probably because of the brand attributes that were so closely associated with Clorox. For example, in dishwashing, it was likely that consumers thought that a bleach product might be a bit too harsh for use on things that touched their food. Or in the laundry category, it was likely that consumers thought that bleach removes color, right? Is it really color safe? Is a Clorox laundry detergent really color safe? So Clorox didn't have a successful brand extension until they found the toilet cleaning category. Here, there was a strong brand fit that fully leveraged all the brand attributes of the Clorox brand. Consumers perceived toilet cleaning as an appropriate use for a powerful chemical cleaner. Some of the bleach attributes and benefits were considered very positive by consumers in the toilet cleaning category. Disinfection and whitening, things like that. And the Clorox Company recognized that in this category, there were a lot of unmet consumer needs, and so there was a lot of potential for value-added innovation, which we'll see on the next slide. As a result, Clorox entered the category with a liquid toilet bowl cleaner and eventually attained category leadership. In fact, 8 of the top 20 toilet cleaners today that are sold on Amazon are Clorox branded versus 5 for Lysol. At the same time, getting into the category allowed Clorox to create very profitable product line extensions. Now here it's good for us to distinguish between line extensions and brand extensions. Product line extension are unique products, yes, but they are launched in the same category that the brand is already in. Brand extensions means going into a completely different category. Once Clorox was in the toilet cleaning category, they were able to launch several very profitable line extensions, such as the toilet bowl cleaning tablets that you can see there, as well as this very innovative toilet bowl cleaning wand, which when the consumer is done cleaning, they dispose of the head, which gets rid of some of one of the bigger consumer frustrations in the category, which is storing a dirty toilet brush. So Clorox was able to pull off a successful brand extension. And this is an illustration of why a lot of companies consider brand extension as a viable way of growing company revenue and profit. Indeed, there are a lot of positive advantages to exploring a brand extension. One of them is that it allows an established brand to get into a new category efficiently and compete immediately. Now, you can imagine how long brand building takes if you're starting from scratch. It's an expensive, time-consuming, resource-intensive process. A lot of that can be circumvented if your brand is relevant in the new category. Starbucks is a good example. They've just gotten into the energy drink category. We can imagine some of the attributes connected with the Starbucks brand are good-tasting beverages that provide a lift to the user. Very relevant attributes in the energy drink category. And now it's a good time to pause and remind ourselves that that is a key to success in brand extensions, having those relevant attributes for the new category. David Aker summed it up very well when he said, when considering brand extensions, companies need to identify extension product categories where a new entry will benefit from and contribute to brand associations. So as long as Starbucks Double Shot energy drink is a good tasting beverage that provides a lift to the user, chances are it has a lot of the good raw materials to be successful. Those aren't the only advantages, though, of brand extensions. Another one, is that it can create marketing scale and efficiency for the company, especially if the company goes into adjacent product categories. Callaway Golf is a good example of this. Callaway is a very well-known manufacturer of golf clubs and golf bags. They wanted to get into apparel and footwear. They knew that going into those categories, even though those are completely separate categories from clubs, the consumer is the same. And they were already buying media and were experts in delivering media plans that served that consumer segment. They even had efficiencies in their celebrity endorsers. You can see here on the slide, Phil Mickelson, one of their golf pros, was already using Callaway clubs. It was easy enough to get him to wear the apparel and wear the footwear, creating some efficiencies in their marketing programs that they already had. So a very good example of marketing efficiencies created by a brand extension. Another advantage of a brand extension can be to improve the margin of a branded product portfolio, and we just saw this with Clorox. Clorox's margins were being compressed in the bleach business, so they moved into the toilet bowl cleaning business where margins were better, and they innovated. They saw the ability to create value-added new products. Both of those moves significantly increased the margins of the Clorox portfolio, so much so that in 2017, Clorox's CEO specifically called out their move into toilet cleaning as one of the primary reasons for the good year in terms of profit and revenue that they had in 2016. Another advantage of brand extensions can be that it can facilitate a transition from a declining or even a dying industry into one that's growing. Xerox is a good example of this. Xerox is very famous, very well known for its high technology paper document copiers. But over time, companies recognized that it was much more efficient to store and manage documents electronically, and environmental concerns of printing out lots of paper copies began to really depress sales in the paper copier segment. Xerox was able to use its brand attributes as a high technology document management company to get into enterprise content management, providing workplace solutions, document management, collaboration solutions, all of which were digital. They were trusted by companies already to do similar things. The brand facilitated their move into this category and therefore probably saved their business. A final example of a brand extension's advantages are it can enable a company to more fully utilize its own expertise. Think about Honda. Honda for years produced cars that were very, very well known for very high efficiency engines and great service provided by Honda technicians. They were able to leverage those attributes and get into the lawnmower category. You can imagine that consumers felt very positive about Honda lawnmowers because they knew the engines would be reliable and the service would be good. But it was also good for Honda. You can imagine that the expertise that they already had in building internal combustion engines and servicing them served them very well. It was easy for them to get into the lawnmower category, relatively speaking. So it enabled Honda to more fully utilize expertise they already had, creating a successful brand extension. Now, with all these advantages, it might be easy to say, why don't more companies do it? Well, there are plenty of disadvantages going into brand extensions as well, and plenty of risks. One of them is that extending too far or too often, doing this too often, can dilute or seriously damage existing brand equity. Diane von Furstenberg is probably a good example of this. That brand was very well known for providing and creating fashionable, premium quality apparel. But over the years, they went into a lot of different brand extension categories, makeup and luggage. And luggage is a category where style is certainly a desirable attribute, and I'm sure the von Furstenberg brand had style, but durability and attributes like that are desired in the luggage category. I'm not sure that was there's not a very direct line of sight between the existing brand and luggage. They went into eyewear, they went into fragrances, and as they proliferated, they probably confused consumers about what the brand was really about. Definitely a risk of brand extensions. Another risk of brand extensions is that if the product quality of the brand extension is poor, it can damage consumer perception of the core brand. Lacoste is a good example of this. It's a highly sought after brand in the 80s. It symbolized premium quality and style. Even the young Rob Lowe here was wearing his Lacoste alligator logo polo shirt. But that brand was hurt over time by their entry and brand extensions into categories where they launched inexpensive, low quality products such as footwear, athletic wear, and fragrances. Over time, then, this hurt consumer perception of the core brand, and today Lacoste really isn't perceived as a premium quality brand anymore the way it was. Brand extensions can also dilute a company's focus on doing what they do best, which is usually defending and growing the core business. Brand extensions are very resource intensive. They often require new production or logistics processes. They can require new channels of distribution, new retailers with which the company is not very familiar. It can involve getting into new target consumer segments. All of this creates the need for significant investment. It can create a strain on the company cash flow. So launching a new brand can definitely dilute the company's focus and is risky in that regard. Even with a company's full attention on launching a brand extension, on average, the risk of launching a brand extension is still fairly high. Some studies indicate that 80 to 90% of brand extensions fail. So even though the company devotes a lot of resources and a lot of attention to getting into a new category, oftentimes the effort fails. It's a fairly high risk proposition. So as we think about all the advantages and disadvantages that are connected with brand extensions, how do we make the decision? Well, of course, it depends on what the brand is, which category that the brand wants to go into, and what's the product concept? What's the idea that the company has to enter the new category? We could talk about this, but it's probably better to do an exercise that'll let us get our hands dirty and try it out for ourselves. So we're going to divide up into teams of 3 members each and do this exercise. Each team is going to receive 3 things. One will be an information sheet on the existing brand. One will be a concept proposal for the brand extension. So what are they planning on doing and which category are they planning on getting into? And then a scorecard. Your team assignment is going to be, have a look at the proposed brand extension, see how well it mirrors the established brand attributes of the core brand product, and then using the concepts that we just covered in this class, list the pros and the cons of launching this brand extension, and create a short presentation, about 5 minutes, no more than 5 minutes, with your recommendation, go or no go, and your rationale for doing that. The materials that you're going to get, I'm going to show you Team 1's materials. This is the core brand information sheet. Team 1, you're going to be doing Lifesavers, and so you'll have some information on the Lifesavers brand, some of its financials, the all-important brand attributes that Lifesavers has, bullseye target consumers and their distribution. Then you will get a sheet about the proposed extension. For the Lifesavers team, it's going to be a soft drink proposal. So Lifesavers is considering getting into the soft drinks business. Here are some of the particulars about the concept. Here's the estimated financials at this point, and here's a couple of graphics of what the product concept might actually be. And you'll also get a scorecard where you can laundry list all of your assumptions, evaluate the product concept, and then see if you would recommend it as a go for a brand extension. Let's go and try to launch this brand extension. Or no, it's too risky, you see too many disconnects, you would worry about going forward with this project. So I'm going to distribute the team lists. You guys can break up into teams. We'll spend 15 minutes on going over the concepts and scoring them, and then we'll regroup and we'll hear everybody's about 5-minute presentations. So let's break into groups, we'll get started and have fun with this exercise.